Here we go, Chapter 1. Our story begins in a lavish, lonely chamber. A young woman jolts awake, a single tear tracing a path down her cheek. She's dazed and confused with no idea where she is. Until the horrifying realization hits her. She's inside the novel, The Devil's Favorite Concubine. She scrambles to sit up, her mind racing. A quick look in the mirror confirms her worst fears. She's become Yu Wanyin, the villainess who gets tortured and killed. Absolute total chibai-size panic sets in. Her maid rushes in telling her she must serve His Majesty tonight. Wait tonight, her heart plummets to the floor. She remembers the original story. Yu Wanyin was supposed to refuse the Tyrant Emperor and get thrown into the cold palace. To survive, she has to flip the script and somehow win over the tyrant himself. Step 1, mentally KO the original male and female leads. Her maid is confused, but our girl is already plotting. She takes charge of her own styling. The Emperor is the client and she's gotta close this deal. She's a professional at appeasing difficult bosses. A tyrant emperor should be a piece of cake, right? The mood is set. She steps into the lion's den. The eunuch announces her arrival to His Majesty. But before he can even finish his sentence, an icy voice cuts through the air. Get lost. Our girl freezes in shock. This wasn't in the book. The guards immediately start dragging her away. Is this it? Is she going to die just for showing up? But a quiet voice stops them. She can stay. The guards vanish, leaving her alone and trembling before the emperor. She hears a muffled sound from behind the screen. Gathering all her courage, she slides the curtain open and is met with the sight of a devastatingly handsome man. Oh my, the author was not kidding about the visuals. This man is so hot he could make a saint sin. Suddenly, his piercing green eyes snap open. He sits up and the two of them just freeze, staring at each other. Who's that? He asks, looking genuinely confused. Our girl is just as lost. He then dismisses her, telling her to sleep on the floor. The absolute audacity. But something about his words feels oddly familiar. A wild thought sparks in her mind. She takes a massive gamble and asks the secret transmigrator code, "How are you?" His eyes fly open in utter disbelief. He whips around, his expression completely shattered. Grabbing her hand with tears in his own eyes, he whispers back, "I'm fine." Holy crap, the Tyrant Emperor is a transmigrator too. He clutches his head. Apparently, two modern souls meeting in an ancient novel is enough to give anyone a migraine. They quickly exchange stories. She was on a cruise, he was on his way home from work. So they're not even from the same time zone. This is a mess. She asks if he's one of those domineering CEOs from a novel, and yup, he basically was. But this CEO is having a full-blown meltdown. He had a brain tumor and now he's stuck here with no modern medicine. Our girl, ever the pragmatist, tries to comfort him. Maybe it's not a tumor, maybe someone just poisoned you. He asks if she's sure. Nah, wild guess, this girl is savage. Since he's new to the story, she gives him the grim rundown. Basically, everyone hates you, your mom, your brother, everyone. Your subjects, your concubines, and even the original me, we all hate you. Plus, you're a violent, paranoid psycho with migraines. You killed off anyone competent in your courts. And spoiler alert, you get assassinated by Prince Duin at the end. It's not a pretty picture. The poor CEO looks like he's about to have another breakdown. He trembles, asking for the gory details of his own death. And our girl has to admit, she got bored and skipped that part, whoops. But he takes the news of his impending doom with surprising calm. A true CEO. Then he asks about her fate. She confesses she's the villainess who gets used as a pawn and ends up losing everything. A truly tragic side character arc. And the kicker, after she died, she was buried with him. His only reactions, oh, well, this is awkward. But now they are on the same page. Two villains, one terrible fate, time to team up. The Emperor gets a dangerous look in his eyes. He suggests a simple, tyrant-like solution, just kill everybody. Our girl immediately shuts that down. The main characters have plot armor thicker than a castle wall. Trying to kill them now would be a speedrun to a bad ending. He asks what she suggests. She says they have to play it smart, changing small things first. But then he brings up a terrifying possibility. What if they aren't the only transmigrators? Her mind is completely blown. Could the original hero and heroine also be from their world? A new fire lights in her eyes. She has a way to find out. Meanwhile, in another part of the palace, we meet the original female lead, Zai. She seems sweet and innocent on the surface. But when her maid tells her the Emperor promoted our heroine instead of punishing her, her mask begins to crack. The plot has changed and she is not happy about it because you see, this little nugget is a transmigrator too. She scoffs, thinking our heroes are merely side characters. In her mind, she's the true protagonist who controls everyone's destiny. And she's dangerously confident that the story will bend to her will. Our girl stares across the banquet hall, laying eyes on the Tyrant Emperor for the very first time. And sitting right beside him is the novel's heroine, Yu Wanyin, already cozying up to him and pouring him wine. The Emperor calls her his beloved consort, and our girl realizes the plot has already gone completely off the rails. Yu Wanyin has somehow already snagged a promotion, But our heroine isn't worried, thinking a mere consort title means nothing in the grand scheme of things. She's determined to have the last laugh. Just then, the heroine suggests a talent show to liven up the party. The emperor, looking way too pleased with himself, thinks it's a marvelous idea. Then he drops a bombshell with a terrifying smirk: anyone who fails to perform will be buried on the spot. This man is pure chaos. The other ladies tremble in fear, but in a private thought bubble, we see the emperor and heroine are both in on it. He wonders if his acting was too much, and she calls him a natural. Our girl immediately sees through the scheme. Yu Wanyin just wants a stage to show off, and she is absolutely not going to let her have her way. But before anyone can make a moves, another concubine, Xiahou Dan, steps up with it's basically a guitar. The emperor and heroine exchange a look of pure shock as she starts to play. They immediately recognize the modern instrument. The crowd thinks she's a genius, but the emperor is just barely hiding his cringe as he claps along to the off-key melody. He's practically crushing his own fist under the table. The transmigrator duo instantly recognizes the tune as canon in D and realizes there's another player in the game. The song ends, and our girl glances over to see the heroine's face twisted in pure rage. Mission accomplished. She smugly thinks that even against the heroine, she can use her own modern talents to win. But the party is interrupted by a grand entrance. The Prince of Duan has arrived. The dashing Prince Xiahou Dan pays his respects to his brother, the emperor. The emperor gives a sly smile, clearly having expected him. He asks about the prince's journey and some supposed injuries, but the prince just brushes it off as a minor fall from his horse. What a polite, totally not suspicious exchange. But the heroine knows the truth from the novel. This prince is a war hero, more beloved than the emperor himself, and he's just playing the part of a kind, gentle brother. Our transmigrator duo silently agrees. If this guy is also from their world, his acting deserves an Oscar. The heroine is on high alert. The emperor points out concubine Zai, who is still holding her guitar. This is it. Our girl Xiahou Dan sees her chance to impress the original male lead. At the emperor's command, she prepares to play another song just for the prince. She gets ready to blow his mind. As the melody starts, our transmigrator duo recognizes it instantly. It's Romance d'Amour. The heroine watches the prince for any sign of recognition. But there's nothing, no reaction, not even a twitch. He just sips his tea completely unbothered. Then she freezes. He's not looking at the performer, he's looking straight at her. Our poor heroine starts to sweat, totally caught off guard. She whispers to the emperor that the prince might be hinting at something, but he just tells her to cool it. The prince politely calls the music heavenly, leading her to conclude he's either not a transmigrator or has terrible taste in music. The emperor, ever the agent of chaos, suggests she go up and do some radio exercises to test him. She panics. They can't just blow their cover when they don't know if he's an ally or an enemy. Later that night, they debrief. They're sure concubine Zai is a transmigrator, but the prince remains a dangerous unknown. The emperor sighs, saying they're in deep trouble because the prince is the original male lead, and his hatred for the emperor is legendary. She explains his tragic past, born to a maidservant who was framed and killed by the emperor's mother. The emperor's own family history is a mess. The empress dowager only pretended to care for the young prince, using every opportunity to humiliate him. His face darkens at the memory. As the emperor's steady buddy, the prince took all the beatings meant for him and grew up consumed by a desire for vengeance. The stakes are clear. If the prince is the original from the novel, it's a fight to the death. But if he's a transmigrator, why was he so calm? The emperor shudders, admitting a person that calculating is terrifying. She warns him that the situation is dire, and he just nods meekly. She can't shake the feeling that she already gave herself away when he looked at her. The next night, a eunuch asks the emperor to choose a consort, and he picks consort Yu again. The eunuch is stunned 3 nights in a row. It's unheard of for the famously violent emperor. He mutters to himself, wondering what's so special about her. The emperor overhears and shoots him a look that could freeze fire. Is that a problem? The eunuch practically melts into the floor, scrambling to fetch her at once. His survival instincts are on point. An hour later, that same eunuch is showering our girl with gifts, bowing and scraping. She cuts to the chase and asks for the one thing she truly desires: hot pot. Another hour passes, and they're sitting in front of a bubbling pot of joy. The emperor morbidly says they should eat up, since who knows when they'll get another chance. She chokes, telling him not to be so depressing. He explains that the court ministers are treating him like he's on his deathbed, advising him on vacation spots and fine dining instead of state affairs. The problem is, the original host drove away all competent officials, leaving the emperor with no one to fight the prince's forces. His chronic headache flares up from the stress. She looks at him with a flicker of sympathy, asking if the pain is bad. He just scoffs, blaming the headaches for the original host's stupidity. She stares at him, speechless. Her mind races, weighing her options. There's the other transmigrator, Xiahou Dan, an unknown threat. There's the prince, a cunning and powerful enemy, and then there's the emperor, who seems adaptable, at least. as he clutches his head in agony. She has a terrifying thought. The original host was driven insane by this pain. Trapped in this hopeless situation, could she possibly team up with this broken tyrant to take down the Prince of Duan? Our girl is strategizing over some hot pot, deciding that winning over the original heroine, Zai Younger, is absolutely necessary. The Emperor, however, is not a fan of this plan and pouts. Fine, you make contact with her tomorrow, but what about me? She immediately assigns him his own mission. You go approach someone called Xiahou. He's Prince Duan's top strategist, the evil genius behind many of their rival schemes. The Emperor is so stunned by her bold plan that he completely spaces out. Our girl panics, shouting, "The pot's about to boil, Dre." He just calmly asks, "Why panic?" Well, she's losing her mind over needing more water. Suddenly, her maids gasp at the window. A servant is stealthily pouring water into their pots from outside. The Emperor just plays it cool, pretending this is totally normal. But the clumsy servant immediately trips and falls flat on his face. Water goes everywhere as he prostrates himself, crying out, "This servant deserves death." He keeps begging for his life, absolutely terrified. The Emperor's face turns to ice as he coldly commands, "Get out." The maids are completely floored by this little performance. "Are you really good at acting?" One of them whispers. Our girl just smirks. Not bad. When doing business, bluffing is inevitable. The Emperor looks at her with a newfound and slightly terrified respect. She cheekily gets back to the point. "You almost fooled me. Now where were we? What's that strategist's name again?" He can't help but be impressed. "Zhu Yao, I suddenly have high hopes for you." She then drops a major spoiler from the novel. Zhu Yao only joined Prince Duan because the Emperor had his father exiled based on slander. Zhu Yao was supposed to be exiled too, but Prince Duan saved him at the last minute. Since then, he's been secretly working to clear his father's name. The Emperor looks thoughtful, then declares he'll go find Zhu Yao and offer to bring his father back in exchange for his loyalty. But our girl knows it's not that simple. He'll probably still hold a grudge and confront you, she warns. She can already picture the dramatic scene. Zhu Yao would demand to know why the king misjudged good and evil, making his father suffer. The Emperor leans back, a sad look on his face. "I was nothing but a mad king with my eyes covered and ears shut." He laughs bitterly, lamenting how a man's entire life was decided by a single, flimsy report. Our girl is stunned. Wait, did he just slip into character? Is this for real? "If you knew you slandered his father, why did you still rely on him?" she asks, but he just throws his head back and laughs. He goes full-on villain mode, cackling about how pitiful Zhu Yao is for still blaming the wrong man for his father's ruin. She immediately fact-checks his performance. "Wrong, Grand Tutor Y isn't even old." He snaps out of it. Oh, let me do it again," he says, ready for take 2 of his dramatic monologue. She sighs, then gets to the real question. Then who was the true mastermind? He leans in close, his voice a dangerous whisper. "Think carefully. Who foresaw everything, spared your life, and took you in as his guard dog?" The horrifying realization hits her like a ton of bricks as she stumbles backward. It was Prince Duan, it was him all along. "Impossible," she cries, refusing to believe it. He just smirks, telling her to go check for herself if she doubts him. But as he turns to leave, she grabs his sleeve. "Well, how was my performance?" he asks, and our girl gives him an enthusiastic thumbs up. "Awesome, what a chaotic duo." And with that, the plan is set. They'll split up tomorrow and get to work. The most chaotic alliance in history is officially formed. The next day, our girl is getting ready, pondering the eternal question. How do transmigration protagonists even have the energy for romance? She applies her makeup, her mind racing. Just trying to survive is giving her a headache. She remembers their conversation from the night before. They had to sleep apart because of all the spies, and he warned her that the original heroine, Zai Younger, wanted to meet her in the garden. The Emperor arrives just then, noting she looks a bit different. She explains this is her wage-slave makeup, designed to look gentle, kind, and trustworthy. A look practically screaming, "I'm on your side." He, of course, does not get it. She has to spell it out for him. "Since I'm extending an olive branch, looking benevolent can't hurt." They walk together, but he's still hopelessly confused about the plan. Persuading her to beg me for mercy, does that make sense? He wonders aloud, honestly, this man. Finally, her maids spot their target. Our girl steels herself, wondering how on earth she's supposed to start this recruitment pitch. The original heroine, Zai Wanyin, greets her sweetly as elder sister. And the bootlicking begins immediately. "Since you are now favored by His Majesty, please don't forget your dear sister." Our girl plays along, saying of course. Internally, she's rolling her eyes. "We both transmigrated, so why does your way of talking sound so novel-like?" Wanyin then offers her some homemade pastries. She accepts, but she's not letting her guard down. "No poison, right?" she asks, straight-faced, shocking everyone. She reasons that a chosen heroine wouldn't use such a dumb, low-level trick. She picks up a pastry, admiring it. Then she creates a diversion. "Oh, I was so careless, I forgot to serve tea," she exclaims, putting Wanyin on the spot. Wanyin immediately scolds her maid. "Why aren't you pouring tea for consort you?" The maid scurries to obey. The tension is so thick you could cut it with a knife. Our girl knows Wanyin has some tricks up her sleeve, but she's not here to play games. She gets right down to business. Sister younger, titles like consort or concubine mean nothing in the end. His Majesty can lift you to the heavens today, she says, grabbing Wanyian's hands, and send you straight to hell tomorrow. Wanyin looks truly shaken as our girl launches into a dramatic speech about sisterhood and how women are at men's mercy. Our heroine puts on the performance of a lifetime, looking as earnest as possible. But inside, she's just confused. What is this girl's deal? She continues the act, insisting she's doing this for Wanyian's own sake, not the Emperor's. Her inner monologue is pure snark. Two transmigrated wage slaves fighting, wouldn't it be better to sit down and eat hot pot? Besides, she says out loud, we're both at the bottom of the totem pole, we should be sticking together. She pulls Wanyin into a hug, sealing her performance. Wanyin, however, is thinking something else entirely. She knows our girl is supposed to be a villainess, so this sudden friendliness is highly suspicious. She's already intercepted the Prince Duan plot, and he even sent her a sachet last night. Her own plan is proceeding perfectly. Her true goal is to snuff out this short-lived heroine before she can become a threat. Wanyin pulls away, claiming she has other matters to attend to, and makes a swift exit. Our girl collapses onto the bench, completely drained. Sigh, in the end, it was all for nothing. A little while later, Wanyin meets with her maid. How did it go? The maid asks. Wanyin gives a chilling smile. Done. Yu Wanyin's clothes have been stained with wisey flower juice, she'll never notice. Now it's all up to their suspicious majesty. The trap has been laid perfectly. A close-up reveals the stain is actually on Wanyin's own sleeve, a clever bit of misdirection. The game is afoot. Zhu Yao's mind is reeling. This is impossible. How could Prince Duan be the one behind framing my father? The Emperor looks at him calmly, laying out the hard truth. Whether what I say is true or not, you must decide for yourself. Our poor heroine breaks down, explaining that the court is secretly controlled by the Empress Dowager and Prince Duan. She's had to play the part of a fool just to survive this long. Zhu Yao is completely stunned, refusing to believe it. Impossible, absolutely impossible. The Emperor gives him an ultimatum. I can pardon your father, but you must decide for yourself what's black and what's white. He warns Zhu Yao that he was invited in secret and must leave quickly before Prince Duan gets suspicious. As Zhu Yao departs, his head is spinning. He bows, his mind a chaotic mess of doubt and fear. Could it be true? Is this tyrant actually using him? The Emperor, meanwhile, smirks to himself. Mission accomplished. Time to meet up with Yu Wanyin. He strolls out, looking incredibly pleased with his masterful performance. He calls for his guards to prepare the imperial carriage to the imperial garden. He's off to see our girl. The garden is beautiful and serene, a perfect backdrop for some classic palace drama. Our heroine is there, wondering where it all went wrong. Why is Zai Younger building such high walls against me? She's just trying to understand her fellow transmigrator. Suddenly, a servant rushes in, screaming, my lady, something terrible has happened. Before he can even finish his sentence, he starts stammering about his majesty. Our girl is confused, but then the servant dramatically throws himself backwards into the lotus pond. Oh dear, what's this about? The other ladies gasp. The servant pops up, begging for forgiveness. Our girl is so done with this. Why did he jump in by himself? Don't tell me he's trying to frame me. She knows the script. The next step is for the Emperor to just so happen to witness the whole thing, and speak of the devil, there he is. She internally rolls her eyes at this classic old-fashioned false accusation plot. The soaking wet servant immediately starts his performance, crying to the Emperor that he has something to report. The Emperor is not amused. Insolence. The servant spins his sob story, claiming he saw consort Yu with a guard, and when he asked a simple question, she pushed him. He puts on the waterworks, hoping for pity. But the Emperor is completely stone-faced. Drag him out, the guards don't even hesitate. A nearby official smirks, thinking Consort Zai's plan worked perfectly. The guards are a bit confused. Your Majesty, drag who? But they grab the sputtering servant anyway. The Emperor glares daggers at the smirking official. The servant panics as he's hauled away. He desperately tries another angle, yelling that he saw Consort Yu in the peony garden today. Our girl just gives him a look and says, no. He points at her skirt, then how could there be purple peony juice on her hem? Our girl knows this setup is so forced it's laughable, and she can't help but let out a smug little smile. The Emperor repeats his order, completely bored. I said drag him out. The servant shrieks, this servant has witnesses. The Emperor's eyes narrow, oh, where are they? An old man steps forward, claiming he was cleaning the peony garden all day. But the Emperor just pinches the bridge of his nose in annoyance. TCH, drag him out too. He is so over this endless drama. Our girl thinks this is just like watching a show on fast forward. Spare us. The servants cry as they're dragged off. The other concubines are stunned. They can't believe how fiercely His Majesty is protecting Consort Yu. The Emperor starts to walk away, his job done. But our girl panics. Oh no, the play isn't even finished yet. Why is he going out of character already? She calls out, Your Majesty, please wait. She reaches for him, her face a mask of desperation. No good, she thinks. I have to pull this scene back on track. She quickly recomposes herself, putting on a show. Cough, cough, with such favor from Your Majesty, this concubine feels unworthy. Internally, she's screaming at him, "Big brother, you're supposed to be the tyrant, don't go soft on me." The emperor gets the message. He turns, his voice dropping to a dangerous whisper. "Beloved consort, you would never betray me, would you?" He gently cups her face, the threat hanging in the air. Our girl sells it, tears welling in her eyes. "My devotion to your majesty is witnessed by heaven and earth, if your majesty doubts me." He cuts her off with a chillingly perfect line. "How could I not trust you? Those I cannot trust are already dead." Yes, now that's the suspicious emperor she knows and needs for her plan. The other ladies tremble, completely intimidated. He asks her who she thinks framed her. She plays the part of the magnanimous consort perfectly, saying she doesn't know and doesn't want to ruin the harmony of the harem. He pulls her close, completely captivated by her performance. The other ladies are seething. This vixen is suddenly acting virtuous. Who does she think she's fooling? But the emperor eats it up. "Ah, my beloved consort has such a heart, excellent." The jealous concubines can only watch in disbelief. Huh, she really tricked him. Elsewhere, a rival consort smashes her cup in fury. "What? Yu Wanyin didn't accuse me." Her handmaiden confirms it, saying all the consorts saw it with their own eyes. But the consort is suspicious. Is Wanyin stupid, or did she let this golden opportunity go on purpose? She warns her younger sister that the emperor's favor is a fickle thing. Today he can lift you to the heavens, and tomorrow he can cast you into hell. She knows Wanyin isn't to be trusted. In the original story, she used every other concubine as a stepping stone. The palace is buzzing with the news of consort Yu's newfound favor. The emperor even summoned her again tonight, an unprecedented honor. But the other concubines are just bitter, cattily remarking that his favor won't last long. Meanwhile, our two transmigrators are having a secret hot pot meeting. Our girl self-critiques her attempts at winning over the other girl, admitting they didn't go well. She complains that Yu Wanyin is wary of her, treating her like a paper character. But the emperor tells her he can't risk Prince Duan finding out their secret. Then he drops a truth bomb, but she isn't real. Our girl is confused. He explains, "You're real, she's not." Her personality and thinking are all set by the author. Turning her against the script is nearly impossible. A light bulb goes off in our girl's head. That makes so much sense. They switch topics to Zhu Yao. The emperor confirms that Zhu Yao is clever and is already starting to figure out who to trust. Our heroine is pleased. Good, let's keep going with this approach. She then reveals she's been recalling the original story's plot. The court is split. 70% support the Empress Dowager's faction and 30% support Prince Duan. The Dowager holds power over the civil officials, while the military generals, long suppressed, have joined Prince Duan. Our girl's plan is deliciously chaotic. What we need to do is spark conflict between them, she says, and provoke them into fighting until both sides are ruined. Then they can swoop in and subdue everyone without lifting a finger. As for the details, the emperor says he'll just have to improvise. And with that, their first secret work meeting is a complete success. They share a look, a silent agreement between two master schemers ready to burn the whole palace down. Just as they're settling in for the night, our girl has a sudden epiphany. She tells the emperor that the biggest trigger for his downfall in the novel wasn't his tyranny, but a massive drought. She racks her brain for the details, remembering it was about 2/3 of the way through the book. According to the story, when the drought hit, the treasury was already bone dry and the people began to starve. But instead of providing relief, the original emperor launched a massive, expensive construction project to build a divine palace just to pray for rain. Priorities, am I right? With people starving to death, the entire country erupted into chaos and rebellion, which led to his assassination. The emperor is not impressed with her fuzzy memory, demanding she remember something actually useful. She claps back, saying something is better than nothing, and bonks him with a scroll for his attitude. Absolutely savage. She continues, explaining that after his death, Prince Duan swooped in under the banner of protecting the throne. With the country in crisis, the ministers practically begged him to take over and stabilize the realm. And just like that, the novel's original male lead rose to the occasion and became the wise ruler everyone loved. The emperor gets a smug look on his face, teasing her, "Aha, so you like Prince Duan when you read the book." She quickly pivots, saying her priority is to prevent the disaster by finding drought-resistant crops. Fired up with a new purpose, our girl declares she'll handle the research herself since it's too important to trust to anyone else. The emperor watches her, a flicker of emotion in his eyes as he realizes she's shouldering his burdens for him. He immediately comes up with a plan, offering to send her to the imperial library under the excuse of compiling books. But our girl is playing 4D chess. While he's thinking of saving the kingdom, she's already mapping out her potential escape routes from the library. Later that night, she lies awake, planning for every possibility. She even tells him that if he fails and she dies, he should use the library as an escape route. He's completely stunned, unable to process her casual mention of her own death. She just turns away, completely oblivious to the emotional damage she just caused. The emperor lies awake, his heart aching from her words, finally starting to realize he might have. *feelings*. The next day, court is in session. General Luo has returned from a triumphant battle, and the other officials flock to congratulate him. But the whispers start immediately, with some speculating his victory was only thanks to Prince Duan's secret help. The general furiously silences them, warning them that such gossip will get their heads chopped off if the emperor hears. The officials immediately clam up as the general schools his expression before facing the throne. The emperor is lounging on his throne, praising the general for his glorious victory. He casually strokes his own hair, saying the general has truly raised the prestige of their nation. Then he drops the bomb, mentioning the general served alongside his imperial brother and thanking him for looking after the prince. The tension is so thick you could cut it with a sword. The general gives a noncommittal answer, trying to play it cool. He's internally panicking, remembering Prince Duan's warning to act unfamiliar with him in front of the emperor. The emperor, however, sees right through the act. He knows the sudden distance is just for show. He muses that the general's return strengthens Prince Duan's faction, which means the Empress Dowager's side is about to make a move. And right on cue, a minister from the Dowager's faction steps forward. It's the Minister of Revenue, and he is here to cause problems. The emperor leans back, a glint in his eye, practically vibrating with anticipation for the coming drama. The minister immediately calls out General Luo for requesting 20% more army rations than usual. He complains that the harvest was poor and the grain is needed for disaster relief. The rest of the Dowager's faction chimes in, calling the general's request outrageous while Prince Duan's supporters stay eerily silent. Seeing his chance to stir the pot, the emperor turns to his brother with a sly smile. "Imperial brother," he asks, "how would you handle this?" Prince Duan is completely blindsided. He's been thrown right into the middle of the fire. Trapped, he knows he can't openly support the general right now, so he'll have to find a way to help him in secret later. He reluctantly suggests that the central army should share the burden, effectively throwing General Luo under the bus. The general looks absolutely betrayed. The emperor smirks, thinking to himself that Prince Duan clearly doesn't care about his own soldiers' well-being. He leans back on his throne, perfectly pleased with the chaos he's just created. A girl has been stuck in the imperial library for hours, searching through dusty old crop planting records. But after 2 hours, she's found absolutely nothing and is bored out of her mind, resorting to doodling a cute little turtle. Just as she's putting the finishing touches on her masterpiece, an attendant announces the arrival of Prince Duan. Our girl freezes. "Prince Duan here, and wait, is that Zhu Yao's man with him?" She watches him approach, remembering that in the original novel, the heroine Yu Wanyin fell for this guy at first sight. Time to put on a show, she decides to follow the script, but then it hits her. How does one even act like they're secretly in love? Just then, his smooth voice cuts through her thoughts. "Consort Yu." She snaps out of her daze, completely caught off guard. "Your Highness, Prince Duan," she says, trying to sound graceful. Putting on her best love-struck performance, she asks if he needs help finding a book while internally telling herself to just act. He replies that he heard she was compiling texts and that His Majesty thought she might be bored. Then he lays it on thick, complimenting her literary talents. Oh, she's on to him. Time to test if this guy is the real deal from the novel. But he's one step ahead, mentioning how she was looking at him with doubt during the banquet. Good grief, he noticed. She quickly backpedals, claiming she was just shocked that the handsome stranger from the Lantern Festival was the renowned Prince Duan. She sells the flustered act for all it's worth. He apologizes for being incognito, then smoothly pivots to asking about her family, reassuring her that her father is well. Damn, this guy is good. He even knows what her father enjoys without a single flaw in his intel. He adds that he almost didn't recognize her, which immediately sets off alarms in our girl's head. According to the script, he only met the original Wanyin once and didn't care at all. The OG Wanyin was a pure white lotus, but this prince saw right through our girl's temptress routine. Something is definitely suspicious. She thinks to herself that innocence only leads to death in the palace. She's just trying to survive. The prince's eyes narrow. "My lady, I shall pretend I never heard these words." She immediately panics, thinking she said too much. But he reassures her that his friend is discreet and won't spread what he heard. Round 2 of their mental chess match begins, and our girl feels like she's finally gained the upper hand. But then he glances at her desk. Was my lady just painting? Crap, he saw her kindergarten-level doodles. The mortification is real. She quickly tries to cover it up, stammering that she just saw a turtle in the pond and decided to sketch it. "Better if your highness doesn't look," she pleads, trying to snatch the paper away. But he's too quick, holding it out of her reach and praising its childlike charm. Childlike charm? Our girl knows a disaster when she sees one. He then asks if she would part with this treasure because he likes it very much. The smug look on his face says it all. He's totally messing with her. Defeated, she lets him take it, knowing he must have some ulterior motive for wanting her terrible drawing. He gives her a knowing smile before turning to leave. As she watches him go, she scoffs internally. This is just like the keepsake he exchanged with Xia Younger in the novel. What a player. He's dangling one girl on a string while simultaneously teasing another, truly worthy of his title. Once they are outside, the prince's attendant asks if he noticed anything. The prince remarks that while she isn't particularly scheming, her eyes are sly and clever. His attendant presses, asking if her behavior was unusual. The prince's face turns serious. Investigate whether she left any traces before entering the palace. He then looks down at the turtle drawing, a thoughtful expression on his face. His attendant can only say, "Oh." Back in her own courtyard, our girl confronts her maid's little May. She asks if May remembers any of her old drawings. May looks confused. "Drawings my lady never drew." Our girl smiles to herself. This is perfect. It means her cover is safe. Later that night, our heroine is buried in paperwork again. She tries to hype herself up, thinking she's a corporate slave who can handle mere research. This is just overtime, it's nothing. But the mountain of scrolls says otherwise. Suddenly, a voice cuts through the silence. It's the emperor. He casually remarks that no one told her to finish everything tonight. She looks up, completely startled to see him standing there. He's so close. He explains that he summoned her to his bedchambers, but when she didn't show up, he came looking. He reminds her she needs to rest for her meeting with the Empress Dowager, which she had totally forgotten about. This schedule is just inhumane. The next morning, she arrives to find the other concubines already gathered. Why is everyone so early? A rival concubine makes a snide remark about the emperor's favorite being late. Our girl immediately recognizes her, noble consort Y, the current queen bee of the harem. This woman has bullied plenty of others, but another consort whispers that our girl has been promoted now. The others scoff, not impressed. Consort Y thinks to herself that our girl will be nothing once the real female laid, Zai Younger, arrives. Our heroine just gives a polite, empty apology. She's just trying to survive this tedious gathering. But then chaos erupts, a cup shatters on the floor. Consort Zhuang points an accusing finger, claiming our girl was meeting with an attendant in the gardens. Another consort tries to quiet her down, but it's too late, the emperor has arrived. In a flash, every single concubine drops to their knees. Our girl is floored by their speed. The emperor ignores everyone else and walks straight to her. He gently takes her hand, pulling her up. "Why is my beloved consort kneeling? Be careful not to hurt your knees." The public display of affection sends a clear message to the entire room. He turns to the trembling women, his voice dripping with ice. "What were you all just talking about?" He and our girl exchange a quick silent glance. He's telling her to play her part. She feigns innocence, saying it was nothing. The emperor isn't buying it. He points to one of the women. "You speak." She immediately confesses her guilt. "That works," the emperor says coldly, "saves me trouble." He's about to pass judgment. The accuser, consort Zhuang, starts begging for her life, pathetically claiming she was just trying to remind our girl to be loyal. The emperor is unmoved. Noble consort Y tries to intervene, saying it's not a crime worthy of death. The emperor's decision is brutal and swift. One is to be cast into the cold palace. The other, dragged out but don't bury her yet. Absolute savagery. As the guards haul the screaming women away, he turns his chilling gaze on noble consort Y. "Now it's your turn." He corners her against a pillar, his eyes blazing. "Speak." But before she can utter a word, a powerful voice echoes through the hall. "My son certainly has quite the authority." The final boss has arrived. It's the Empress Dowager holding the little crown prince's hand. She glares at the scene, her voice dripping with disdain. "For my son to cause such a scene at the doors of my palace, was it all for this enchantress?" Our poor girl trembles. She's just become public enemy number 1 to the most powerful woman in the empire. Our girl immediately clocks her, so this is the Empress Dowager's pressure. The final boss has finally appeared to shield her own. The Empress Dowager isn't backing down, blaming the whole mess on her hot-headed son for offending our girl's mother. She claims this widow has bewitched the emperor, making him act outrageously. And suddenly it all clicks for our girl. The Minister of Revenue who was executed, he was one of the Empress Dowager's people. She realizes this is a massive power play and she's caught in the middle. Her best move, kneel and get out of the way. But just as she's about to bend the knee, a firm hand stops her. It's the emperor. He coolly says true enough, and our girl is internally screaming while the Empress Dowager is about to pop a blood vessel. The old bat completely loses it, screeching for the guards to seize the witch who bewitched her son's heart. The guards actually start moving towards our poor heroine who's just trying to watch the drama unfold. But the emperor roars, "I'd like to see who dares." He yanks her behind him, a human shield of pure, unadulterated hotness. But Mommy Dearest is not giving up, screaming, "Take her away." The guards are frozen, caught between a rock and a very angry emperor. The emperor finally speaks up, trying to calm his mother down. He smoothly explains that when he said true enough, he was talking about her foul temper and she shouldn't waste her energy on a mere concubine. Oof, savage. He then plays the part of the dutiful son, offering her tea and suggesting they talk calmly. The Empress Dowager is stunned, wondering if this witch has truly hexed her son to this degree. The emperor practically chokes on his words, forcing out a compliment. He lays it on thick, saying it's only because of his mother's virtue that he entrusted the crown prince to her for his upbringing. Hook, line, and sinker. The Empress Dowager switches topics, asking about the Crown Prince's studies. The poor little prince looks up at his father, probably just as confused as we are. The Emperor reports his studies are passable, but he needs help with writing and archery, suggesting they summon General Luo's son to be his companion. And there it is, the smug smile on the Empress Dowager's face says it all. This was her plan all along. Our girl realizes the horrifying truth. They're taking the general's son as a hostage. The emperor looks absolutely gutted, forced into a corner by his own mother. He makes a weak protest, but she steamrolls right over him, once again ordering the guards to drag our girl away. Our girl is like, are we seriously doing this again? She tries to plead with the Empress Dowager, but the emperor has had enough of this chaotic family reunion. He shuts it all down, announcing his son will handle the decree later and promptly leaves with the prince. Mic drop. And our poor girl is left standing there, realizing she was nothing but a pawn in their twisted game. Later that night, she's ready for some answers. She confronts the emperor, telling him she's figured out his entire manipulative stage play. She breaks it down for him. He deliberately made everyone think the Empress Dowager was weakening his faction, all while playing the part of a lovesick fool obsessed with a witch. It was a brilliant move to fool not only his mother but also Prince Duan, who will now run off and report this weakness to his own allies. By letting the two factions bite at each other, the emperor can quietly build his own power base and become the new master of balance. She spares a thought for the tragic crown prince from the original story, before reminding herself he's not her real son anyway. Cold but fair. He apologizes, admitting that she was wrong today. But our girl just laughs it off. She knows her role, she's his cover and his weakness all in one package. She even jokes that if assassins used her as a hostage, he could just let them skewer both of them like candied hawthorns. He's shocked she's not angry. She shrugs, saying she gets it. They're all just trying to survive. Besides, she has her own secrets, like her meetings with Prince Duan. At that, he gently takes her hand. He looks at her with an intensity that could melt steel and promises, "Don't worry, I won't betray you." Our girl is taken aback by his sudden sincerity. He leans in closer, his gaze unwavering as he repeats, "I mean it." And just like that, our girl is completely flustered. She quickly recovers, smiling and patting his hand. "I know you won't stab me, you're a good man." The emperor gets hit with the good guy card and is momentarily stunned. They agree the next move belongs to Prince Duan's faction now that General Luo's son is a hostage. And speak of the devil, over at Prince Duan's manor, his men are reporting the Empress Dowager's latest power grab. Not only did she take the general's son, but she also replaced a commander and planted a spy. They're convinced the emperor is just a love-struck puppet. Their plan is simple. It's time for one of the Empress Dowager's key supporters, Grand Tutor Y, to fall. Prince Duan sips his tea, asking if everything is ready. They have a witness, but it might not be enough. They need hard evidence to bring him down. Prince Duan smirks. Once Y is gone, he'll maneuver his ally into the Grand Secretary position. This will also serve as revenge for the man's father who was wrongfully exiled. But his subordinate Zhu King is plagued with doubt, remembering the emperor's chilling warning. The tyrant's words echo in his mind. Prince Duan will use him and then let his father die in exile. The scene shifts to the crown prince's birthday banquet. Prince Duan, ever the schemer, feigns being drunk and asks to be excused. The emperor, playing his part perfectly, allows him to go. Prince Duan slips away to a small, secluded courtyard. His guard confirms the coast is clear. He orders him to stand watch. Inside, a woman is waiting for him. It's his secret lover, Zai Younger. She greets him, saying he's grown thin. He tenderly caresses her cheek, blaming it on how much he's missed her. They fall into a passionate embrace. But they're not alone. Hiding in the bushes is our girl, who knew this secret rendezvous was part of the original novel's script. She's here to gather intel, ready for the drama to unfold. She listens as Prince Duan tells Younger about Grand Tutor Y's corrupt son. Apparently, the son killed a commoner who was on his way to report a corrupt official, a capital crime. It's a grave offense, obstructing a grievance from reaching the throne. Younger learns that the inspector involved bribed Grand Tutor Y to cover up the whole affair. Prince Duan reveals he's just one piece of evidence away from destroying Y. The evidence is a Buddha relic, the very item used as the bribe. He believes it's in the hands of Y's sister, consort Y, and from reading the novel, Younger knows exactly where it is. Without a second thought, she declares, "I'll steal it for you." Our girl nearly falls out of her bush. Steal? This woman is willing to risk it all for this man. Prince Duan is suspicious. How could she possibly know where the relic is? Younger stammers, caught in her lie. She quickly saves herself by saying she just has faith in him. He brushes it off, thinking she overestimates him. From her hiding spot, our girl has a revelation. Prince Duan isn't a transmigrator. If he were, he would have recognized Younger from the start and tried to change her tragic fate. Instead, he's following the novel's plot to a T. That proves it, he's just the original, scheming male lead. And so begins a Chibai lecture breaking down the entire sordid affair. First, the rich kid runs over a peasant. Then a corrupt inspector bribes YSR to cover it up, and in the end, it's Younger who steals the evidence for Prince Duan. Our girl thinks it's a twisted story, but hey, at least the bad guys lose and the good guys win, right? It's also complicated. Our girl is deep in thought, realizing her dream of a peaceful mahjong game with her enemies is officially dead. But there's still one major loose end she can't figure out. Why did Prince Duan try to hit on her in the library? Is it just because she's the Emperor's new favorite, or does he somehow know who she really is? Just then, she hears a footstep in the dark. Panicked, she dives into the nearest bushes, her heart pounding in her chest. Peeking through the leaves, she sees a figure approaching. It's Zhu Yao, holding a single candle and looking around nervously. He seems to be searching for something or someone. Back with the Emperor, our girl gives him the full report. Her plan to sow discord worked perfectly, and now that Zhu Yao is starting to trust her, it's only a matter of time before he's on their side. She also confirms that Prince Duan is nothing more than a puppet, way less complicated than they originally thought. Our heroine is feeling herself, knowing the plot of the novel is her ultimate cheat code. She lays out the next phase of the plan. Once Grand Tutor Y is locked up, Zhu Yao will use the opportunity to investigate his father's old case. The Emperor, ever the fan of chaotic shortcuts, suggests he just bribe the Grand Tutor into a new testimony, but our girl has a much more elegant solution. The next day, Zai Younger will sneak into Consort Y's rooms to steal the sacred relics. Our girl stretches, ready for the drama to unfold. The next morning, everything is going according to plan. A maid reports that Consort Y is absolutely losing her mind over a stolen item, causing such a ruckus she even woke the Empress Dowager. Our girl just takes a smug bite of an apple, a smirk playing on her lips. Zai Younger succeeded just as predicted. She knows what's coming next. According to the plot, the thief will try to plant the stolen goods in her room to frame her. And right on cue, she sees the evidence being hidden. Just as I expected, she thinks. But our girl is playing 4D chess. Too bad you messed with me, she muses, holding the real relic. You're going to pay dearly for it. A moment later, the guards storm her courtyard, led by a furious Consort Y. She orders them to tear the place apart, leaving no stone unturned. Then, with peak villainous energy, she points at our heroine and declares she'll perform the body search herself. Our girl just stands there, the picture of pure, unbothered innocence. Consort Y gets cocky, gloating that the Emperor is busy with his mother and can't come save her this time. Our heroine's eyes glint with amusement. Oh, really? Consort Y turns around and her blood runs cold. It's His Majesty, the Tyrant Emperor, and he does not look happy. He snatches her hand away from our girl. You weren't expecting that, were you? He asks, his voice dripping with ice. He then pulls our heroine into a protective embrace. Consort Y immediately starts backtracking, but it's too late. The Emperor orders her to be dragged away without a second thought. That night, a maid delivers a box of treats to Zai Younger, a special gift from our girl. Suspicious, Zai Younger opens the box. What could it be? She picks up one of the buns and breaks it in half. Her eyes go wide in horror. Inside is the stolen relic. She's been played like a fiddle. She realizes our heroine knew about the trap all along but sent the relic to her anyway. She wonders if it's because our girl is still hopelessly in love with Prince Duan and doesn't want to fight. But as she stares at the golden orb, a chilling thought enters her mind. If our heroine isn't the villainess of this story, then does that make her the evil one? Meanwhile, in the imperial prison, Grand Tutor Y is screaming his head off, claiming he was framed. Yeah, good luck with that, dude. The Emperor arrives for a little late-night chat. He reminds the old man that he's been accused of corruption and embezzlement, with all evidence pointing to him. Anything to say for yourself, he asks coolly. After a flood of crocodile tears, the Emperor offers a deal. Do one last favor and his family will be spared. Y continues to protest his innocence, but the Emperor cuts him off. Do you know who wronged you? The old man trembles. I don't know. The Emperor leans in. It was Prince Duan, he whispers, and he had help from Zhu Yao. Y is stunned. The Emperor spins a masterful tale, explaining how Prince Duan saved Zhu Yao only to use him as a pawn to bring down his enemies. Y falls for it hook, line, and sinker. He used me, he cries. The Emperor just nods. Yes, he used you to get rid of the Zhu family, and now he's using the Zhu family to get rid of you. The Emperor looks so damn pleased with his own manipulation. The Grand Tutor is horrified, calling the Emperor a madman. He realizes the Emperor has known everything for years and just let it all happen. Defeated, he confesses everything, admitting Prince Duan was the one who pushed him to frame Zhu Yao's father. He begs to know how the Emperor found out. The Emperor just shrugs. I was just guessing, but who would have thought it would work? What an absolute savage. He gives Y one last order. If Zhu Yao comes asking questions, tell him the truth. His work done, the Emperor leaves the prison, only to run into Zhu Yao waiting for him right outside the gates. Zhu Yao looks absolutely terrified. Over at Prince Duan's palace, the prince is calmly practicing his calligraphy when a subordinate rushes in with an update. How's it going? The prince asks, not looking up. The man whispers in his ear, and the prince's hand jerks, smearing ink across the paper. The emperor has been very irritable lately, he says with a chilling smile. It's time to calm him down a bit. Back at the library, our girl is told she has a mysterious visitor. He won't give his name but insists she'll recognize him. Curious, she goes to see who it is, and is shocked to find a disheveled and frantic Zhu Yao. What happened, she asks, dismissing her maid. This wasn't the plan, she just arranged an escape route for him. He begs for an audience with the emperor, claiming he's being pursued. Pursuer, she asks, feigning ignorance. He tells her that Prince Duan is trying to kill him, but before he can finish, he suddenly feels dizzy. He clutches his stomach, a burning pain spreading through him. I've been poisoned, he chokes out as our girl stares in horror. He collapses right into her arms. This chaotic mess just went completely off script. The official, Zhu Yao, is on his knees, completely desperate. He explains he barely escaped Prince Duan's men and couldn't get into the palace, but our girl tells him this is enough for now. He begs her, saying he has one last request before he dies. He knows all of Prince Duan's dirty secrets and will trade them for his father's safety. Our girl tries to calm him down, assuring him that the emperor's word is as good as gold. The man kowtows, his life hanging by a thread. He tells her his father always believed his majesty would become a great ruler. But in the middle of his plea, he suddenly coughs up a spray of blood. Our girl urges him to hang on, telling him the emperor will value his father's knowledge. But their conversation is cut short by frantic shouts outside. The building is on fire. Panic erupts as people scream for water. Zhu Yao immediately knows who's behind this. It has to be Prince Duan. Flames begin to lick at the room, trapping them inside. The smoke grows thicker by the second. Our girl looks out the window and sees Prince Duan's men cordoning off the area. This isn't an accident, it's an execution. She realizes he's trying to burn all his opposition to the ground. With the floor below completely engulfed in flames, there's no way out but the window. Her eyes land on a teapot, and a brilliant idea sparks in her mind. As she formulates a plan, Zhu Yao reveals he's recorded all of the prince's evil schemes in a book. Our quick-thinking heroine immediately soaks her outer robe in tea, creating a makeshift shield against the smoke and fire. He tells her the book is hidden in the Y residence, but she cuts him off, telling him to save his breath until they're safe. She helps the weakened man to his feet, determined to get them both out alive. He ignores her, giving her the book's exact location, buried behind the kitchen. He warns her that the prince will be watching, so she has to wait at least 7 days before retrieving it. But then, in a devastating act of sacrifice, he shoves her away. He pushes her with all his remaining strength and throws her towards the only escape route, the window. He tells her to save herself and forget about him. With one last look, he's consumed by the inferno. His final words are for her to find the emperor and stay alive. And then he falls back into the raging fire. Our girl screams, horrified. She tries to run back in for him, but a massive flaming beam crashes down, blocking her path forever. Trapped between grief and the fire, she stands frozen for a moment. The inferno explodes behind her, sealing Zhu Yao's fate. Her face hardens with resolve. His sacrifice will not be in vain. She climbs onto the roof of the burning building. With no other options, she takes a leap of faith and splashes into the cold waters of the lotus pond below. Just as she surfaces, gasping for air, her maids spot her. They rush to pull her out of the water. Zhu Yao's last words echo in her mind as she trembles from the cold and the trauma. The maids ask if she's all right, but when she looks up, she sees their faces are twisted into sinister, demonic smiles. These aren't her maids. She tears herself away from them in a panic. They call after her, but she doesn't look back. She runs for her life through the dark palace grounds. Stumbling through a bamboo grove, she trips on a root and crashes hard onto the ground. Dazed and bleeding, she looks up. Someone is standing over her. It's her sister, concubine Zai. Our girl looks up, completely defeated. "Sister, save me," she cries, reaching out a desperate hand. Her sister helps her to her feet, feigning concern. Our girl begs to be taken to the emperor immediately. Concubine Zai tuts, saying she'll find someone to carry her. But our heroine clings to her, terrified. "Don't leave me," she pleads. The sister is completely baffled by this sudden show of affection. Just then, a smooth voice cuts through the night. And who should appear but the devil himself, Prince Duan. He strolls up as if he wasn't just trying to burn her alive. Our girl freezes, pure terror in her eyes. He launches into a ridiculously fake story about sending his guards to help extinguish the fire, so glad she's safe. The absolute nerve of this man. He closes the distance between them. He asks where she's hurt before scooping her into his arms. As he lifts her into a princess carry, she's utterly shocked. She wonders if he's checking her for hidden items, but she plays along, thanking him weakly. He gives her a sickeningly gentle smile. Her sister is fuming in the background, wondering why her own maid is just standing there swooning over the prince. Concubine Zai tries to stop them, clinging to our girl's sleeve. But our heroine, thinking fast, dismisses her. "I'm fine, you go find a doctor." What a savage move. The prince is clearly amused, and her sister has no choice but to agree. Our girl is panicking internally. Being alone with this monster is the last thing she wants. He notices she's shaking. She quickly lies, saying her burns are stinging. He apologizes for being too late to save her. She silently thinks she would have preferred he never showed up at all. Playing the damsel, she says she feels better now that he's here. He remarks that she seems just as unafraid of him as when they first met. He tells her he wishes she would stay that way. Oh, the irony. The guy who just tried to turn me into a kebab wants me to not be afraid of him, she thinks. He then starts spewing nonsense about how serving the emperor is the real danger and that she should fear his majesty, not him. He finishes with a dramatic declaration that he will protect her. The audacity is off the charts. She pretends to be confused, asking what he means. She realizes he's giving her a veiled warning, choose a side and choose him. But just as he's about to continue his villain monologue, a cold, powerful voice rings out, let her go. It's the emperor, and he looks absolutely livid. Prince Duan finds himself surrounded by the emperor's personal guards. The emperor stands before them, a figure of pure authority and rage. His eyes are practically glowing with fury. The two most powerful men in the empire face off, with our girl trapped right in the middle. The air crackles with unspoken threats as the prince dares to say the emperor's given name. Our poor heroine can only look on, caught in a deadly standoff. The emperor rushes to her side, apologizing for his negligence after seeing our poor heroine so terribly wounded. He looks down at her, his face a mask of concern and regret. He turns away for a brief, tormented moment. Then he's pulling her close, covering her mouth to silence her protests. He holds her tight, whispering a desperate apology for being so late. Our girl can only stare in shock, her mind reeling from the pain and chaos. A single tear escapes as the exhaustion finally claims her. She collapses into his arms, and he cries out her name in a panic. The emperor looks absolutely frantic, screaming for the imperial physician as he sweeps her up into his arms. And as if on cue, the heavens open up and it begins to pour, adding to the sheer drama of the moment. In her feverish dreams, she sees Zhu Yao telling her to escape and go to his majesty. Then the emperor's face appears, begging her to survive. She jolts awake with a gasp. Our girl opens her eyes, confused and weak in a lavish bed. A familiar voice asks if she's awake. And it's none other than our male lead, looking unfairly handsome while holding a bowl of medicine. He explains that while her burns were minor, the dirty pond water could have caused a nasty infection. But luckily, her injuries are already healing. The relief is too much for our poor heroine, and she just starts sobbing. He gently reassures her, telling her everything is fine now. He tenderly wipes the tears from her cheek. Take your medicine first, he says softly, it will bring down your fever. He holds the bowl out to her. She gulps it down without a second thought. Thank goodness, she whispers, and he gives her a questioning look. She confesses through her tears, thank goodness you transmigrated here too. Without you, I would have gone mad from loneliness and fear. Overwhelmed with emotion, she throws herself into his arms. After a moment, she pulls back and asks the question they've both been dreading. What about Zhu Yao? He tells her the grim news. Zhu Yao died peacefully, poisoned before the flames ever reached him. And just as they suspected, the fire was deliberately set by the wicked Prince Duan. The ML explains the plan. They'll catch a random arsonist to be the scapegoat, ensuring the investigation leads nowhere near the prince. As for the old minister, he's been safely tucked away in a suburban courtyard. And for the final plot twist, it turns out Prince Duan was the one who framed the minister in the first place. Our girl is absolutely floored. So they pin the blame on the prince only to discover he was the real mastermind all along. Exactly, he confirms, looking way too smug about it. He explains he just tricked the grand tutor, who immediately confessed everything. Our girl can only marvel at his big-brain CEO energy. She admits she originally planned to play the villainess herself, but Prince Duan proved to be far more terrifying than she ever imagined. Before he died, Zhu Yao told her about a book hidden in the Y residence that could be their trump card. The ML then asks about Zhu Yao's fate in the original novel. She sits down, a sad look on her face. Apparently, he was always working for Prince Duan, so by exposing the prince, they indirectly caused his demise. The male lead's face falls, a wave of guilt washing over him. They sit in silence for a moment, the weight of their actions settling in. Our girl clenches her fist, blaming herself. But he quickly stops her, explaining that in the original story, Zhu Yao died as a workhorse for his enemies, never knowing the truth. This outcome is better, he says, but I wasn't paying attention and this happened. He's absolutely beating himself up. He covers his face, whispering that she got hurt for nothing. Our girl thinks to herself, how come he seems even more dejected than I am? She tries to cheer him up, reminding him that her injuries are minor and they now have a solid lead. But he's spiraling into despair, wondering if their struggle even matters when the fates of villains seem so predetermined. He says grimly that the more they fight, the more pitiful they become. That's the last straw for our girl, who is not about to let him give up. I'm not ready to die yet, she yells. She gives him an impassioned pep talk, insisting their destiny is in their own hands. She brings up using their knowledge of the future to find drought-resistant crops, then remembers the library containing all that information was just burned to the ground. Awkward. He can't help but tease her a little for her chaotic energy, but he quickly gets serious again, declaring that they need to beef up their security. He stands up, remembering that in the original story, there were a few imperial guards who remained loyal to him until the very end. She remembers them too, the ones who secretly buried his body. He's shocked that anyone would be willing to die for a tyrant like him, but then a sly, brilliant idea begins to form. He just smirks and tells her, "You'll find out soon enough." The next day, after being confined to her bed for so long, our girl is finally able to go outside for some fresh air. She steps out looking radiant, and her maid Xiahou bursts into tears of relief. But their sweet reunion is cut short. The Empress Dowager is coming, the maid whispers frantically. And there she is, the queen of backhanded compliments, saying she heard about the fire and how our girl's notoriety must have aroused jealousy. She takes a slow, deliberate sip of tea before delivering her warning. The emperor cannot protect you forever. Our girl just nods and agrees to the next 500 words of lecturing. She heaps on the praise, calling the dowager's wisdom profound. But inside her head, she's practically screaming for it to be over. The dowager finally gets to her point, sneering that our girl shouldn't think she can just take concubine Y's place, not with her powerless family background. Oh, she gets it now. This whole visit was just to reprimand her and put her back in her box. The dowager stands, giving one last piece of advice about being a wise bird before sweeping out. She throws one last icy glare over her shoulder. But just as the old bat is leaving, a eunuch rushes in with a shocking announcement. Congratulations to Consort Yu on her elevation to imperial consort. Our girl is stunned. The Empress Dowager's face is a picture of pure, unadulterated shock. The timing is absolutely savage. And so, our heroine moves into the gorgeous palace of the imperial consort. The emperor himself is there, personally overseeing renovations and planning every detail. He even assigned an entire squad of secret guards to protect her. Our girl is completely swooning. She throws her arms around him in a grateful hug. He's already making plans to turn the pond into a spot for impromptu barbecues, and she rightly calls him out for designing her new home for his own enjoyment. A few days later, they're living their best life, feasting and grilling. He offers her a perfectly grilled fish, and as she takes it, a brilliant plan clicks into place. She's finally figured out how to retrieve Zhu Yao's book right under Prince Duan's nose. Our two schemers are out on the lively streets at night, but the male lead is utterly confused. He thought they were going to the Y residence to retrieve the book, but our girl has other plans. She explains that they're going to create a diversion and find someone else first. And just who is this mystery person? She reveals it's Bai Zhu, a martial arts prodigy from the novel who also happens to be her childhood sweetheart and former personal guard. Look at the cute little flashback of them on the swings. But their happy days ended when her mother, the Empress, died suddenly after our girl entered the palace. Beiju was convinced she was murdered and was there to comfort our poor heroine. Absolutely devastated, he left on a journey that turned him into the most powerful martial arts master of his generation. According to the book The Demon's Concubine, he's been hiding in the capital this whole time, just waiting for the right moment to protect her. But even this powerhouse has his limits. The last time around, he arrived too late and couldn't save her, even though he messed up Prince Duan's plans. So this time, she's going to find him first. She lays out her master plan. The original author knows nothing about this side story, which makes Bai Zhu the perfect secret weapon. They'll use him to sneak into the Y residence and steal the book. The male lead is sold on the idea and asks the million-dollar question, so where is he? With a sly little smile, she just says he's here. And by here, she apparently means a high-class brothel. The male lead is absolutely scandalized. Our girl just shrugs, saying the book states he's hiding out in a place like this. He tries to back out, but she's not having it and drags him right in. They're immediately greeted by the madam. Oh, she looks like she means business. Our girl, ever the quick thinker, puts on a pitiful face. She claims they're just poor scholars here to broaden their horizons for the imperial exams, and look at the male lead's face. He is so done with this chaotic energy. She smoothly slips the madam a bribe. And just like that, they're welcomed upstairs. He can't help but ask how she's so good at this. Her savage reply, probably because I read too much trashy literature. Inside, the poor guy is immediately swarmed by beautiful ladies. He looks like he's dying inside while our girl is just living for the drama. He tries to get her attention and she reminds him to focus on the mission, finding Bai Zhu. Her logic is simple. There can't be that many men working in a brothel, and since she looks just like her mother, he's sure to recognize her. She asks one of the ladies how many handymen they have on staff. The woman thinks for a moment and says maybe 4 or 5. But when asked about any new, strong-looking arrivals, she's not quite sure. Just then, another woman approaches and they share a very suspicious glance. The woman gestures to a pot of wine, and our male lead watches her every move. She offers him a cup, telling him to drink up. But before he can take it, our girl swoops in, grabs the cup, and downs it herself. He looks on, a little concerned. She finishes the drink, but then her face changes. She points a shaky finger and gasps, "You." Her eyes start to glaze over. Something is definitely wrong. And then she collapses right onto the table. The woman smirks, telling her accomplice to go get the madam. Turns out it was all an act. Our girl was just pretending to be drugged to get information. She explains that the lady's reactions were far too excessive for a simple inquiry. The male lead unties her, asking what the plan is now. He immediately sends his men to search the building for Beiju. Our girl suggests he head back to the palace for safety, but then argues that she needs to stay to properly identify their target. He has to admit she has a point. With the plan set, she casually offers him a snack. He just stares, completely bewildered by her chill attitude. He asks how she can be having such a good time. I mean, she was just drugged and kidnapped moments ago, but now she's perfectly fine. She launches into a hilariously modern-day corporate speech about having a positive mindset to survive. It's about leveling up your mental game, President Dan. She grins, telling him he has to survive with her until the very end. He's rendered utterly speechless by her sheer audacity. He just stares for a moment, completely stunned. Finally, he just sighs and says, "All right." She's like, "All right what?" But he doesn't get to answer. She suddenly shushes him, "Someone's coming." They share a quick look and immediately get back into their positions at the table. The door slides open, and a man holding a broom walks in. A handyman, could this be him? Our girl is practically vibrating with excitement. The male lead pulls her back, whispering that the look the man gave them earlier was like a lone wolf. It has to be Beiju. She gives him a little wink and a nod, game on. The male lead calls out to the man, laying it on thick. "My friend, you seem familiar to me," he says, trying to sound mysterious. The handyman freezes in place. He continues with some nonsense about destiny and sincere faces. The poor guy is sweating bullets, clearly not prepared for this level of cringe. The male lead leans in, his eyes intense. Our girl joins in the terrible acting, demanding he reveal his true identity. The man stammers, and our poor male lead can't take it anymore, completely facepalming at their chaotic attempt at subtlety. This is a disaster. But before the man can say another word, he whips out a sword and lunges. The male lead reacts in a flash, pulling our girl to safety as the blade clangs against the wall. The sword is stuck deep in the wood. His guards rush in and subdue the attacker, but the danger isn't over. In the chaos, someone else falls to the ground. A body hits the floor with a sickening thud. Our girl stares in absolute shock. A flashback reveals the horrifying truth. A dagger flew through the paper door, striking the man in the neck with brutal precision. They turn to see who threw the fatal blow, and standing there with a look of pure malice is the madam of the brothel. Our heroine can only stare, completely horrified by this turn of events. The emperor can't believe his ears. That voice, it's a man's. His eyes widen in shock as the realization dawns on him. "Danner," he whispers, the name catching in his throat. He points accusingly between our flustered girl and the beautiful woman, finally connecting the dots. Beiju. A moment later, they're all sitting down for what is sure to be the most awkward tea time in history. Our girl is reeling. Could this really be Beiju? The novel definitely described him as a man, so what is this beautiful lady situation? Then, in a move that shocks everyone, the person in question calmly reaches up and just pulls the mole off their face. A series of horrifying cracking sounds fill the room as their entire body begins to shift and change. Our girl and her system absolutely lose their minds. Is that the legendary bone shrinking technique? And just like that, the beautiful woman is gone, replaced by an incredibly handsome man with sharp, knowing eyes. He introduces himself as Beiju, a companion of the former empress, and demands to know how Danner knew of his existence. Danner's heart is beating out of his chest. He is not prepared for this interrogation. Our girl is panicking internally. They never practiced this part. It's all up to Danner's acting skills now. Thinking fast, Danner claims he discovered Lord Bay's existence thanks to a letter left by his mother. Bijou's eyes narrow as he grabs Danner's hand. "How did my Nana portray me in that letter?" he asks, his voice thick with emotion. Our girl sends a psychic message to Danner. "Lay it on thick. All the desire, the nostalgia, the undelivered love letters, use it all." And boy, does he deliver. He tells Bijou that his mother always said if she were ever in danger, he was the one person she could turn to. The man is visibly moved, and our girl can't believe he actually pulled it off. Bijou is overwhelmed. "She still remembered me," he whispers, completely touched. Danner explains that he's been searching for him ever since he took the throne, and only recently heard rumors of an Uncle Bai. He then changes the subject, asking about the unconscious man on the floor. Bijou's face darkens. He explains he found the man cleaning the building but discovered he was a spy from the state of Yan. sent to assassinate nobles and sow chaos in the kingdom. Danner takes the secret letter as Bijou explains the rest. The spy attacked them because he mistakenly thought they were there to expose him. Danner warns him to be careful. The state of Yan is growing desperate and there may be other spies. Bijou looks shaken, realizing how close he came to death. He admits to Danner that his own position in the palace is perilous, besieged on all sides. He confesses he returned to the capital to protect Danner, but feared his help would be rejected. Later, at the Yanglu halls, the women are inconsolable. "Mother, how can you leave us?" they cry, clinging to Bijou's old disguise. They beg to go with him, completely heartbroken. Bijou looks incredibly awkward, but Danner leans in and promises to send men to free them all and escort them to safety. He tells Bijou that his kindness reminds him of his mother, and Bijou actually seems pleased. But then things take a chaotic turn. "What a pity," Bijou says, tearing up. "Uncle actually prefers being a woman." Our girl and her system are left speechless. Did he really just say that? As their carriage rolls away, Danner asks Bijou to tell him more about his mother. Lost in his memories, Bijou speaks of her with deep affection, saying she was the only one who ever understood him. Then he drops another bombshell. "Now that Nanner is gone," he says tearfully, "I hope you will consider this uncle as your mother." He pats a stunned Danner on the shoulder, who can only manage a weak, awkward smile. They arrive at the palace, and Bijou questions if he'll be staying in the consort's apartments. Danner wisely suggests his own residence, citing fewer servants and potential spies. He scans the area, noting the grounds are crawling with hidden guards. Our girl shares a laugh with Bijou, suddenly realizing just how important this demonic consort is to the emperor. Danner smirks, seeing her reaction, while our girl gets flustered, wondering just how far his scandalous reputation has spread. Suddenly, he grabs her hand. "Since Uncle Bai has discerned the truth, we will no longer pretend," he declares. He asks Bijou to protect her with his life, just as he would protect the emperor himself. Bijou smiles warmly and accepts. Later that night, our girl finally gets a moment to relax now that Bijou is off on his mission. Danner praises the man's skills, but admits he's been gone a little too long. Our girl starts to worry about all their enemies lurking in the shadows. While Danner muses that the world's plots have changed so much, he feels uncertain. Our girl thinks back to the original story and tries to comfort him in the worst way possible. "Don't worry," she says, "the worst that can happen is death." Danner is not impressed. "Nice way to comfort someone," he deadpans, poking her forehead, "but avoid doing it next time." As he laughs to himself, looking far too handsome for her own good. Our girl is hit with a sudden realization. While Xiahou Dan is actually really handsome, she immediately starts panicking. "Wait, what am I thinking?" Her inner demons scream at her. Falling in love is absolutely forbidden in this kind of survival story. Danner catches her staring. "HM," he asks, an amused glint in his eye, "why are you looking at me like that?" He leans in, his voice dropping to a low purr. "My beloved concubine, have you been peeking at me?" A blushing, stuttering mess, she tries to flee. "I'm going to wash up and retire for the night." But he's too quick, grabbing her sleeve and pulling her back. She turns, and he gives her the most devastating smirk she's ever seen. "Shall we go together?" He leans in even closer, his breath warm against her ear. "That way, you'll be able to see even more." His eyes are practically glowing as he leans in, whispering that this way, she'll be able to see even more. And by more, he means a full-on display of his glorious, chiseled abs. Our girl is completely flustered, asking if he even realizes what he's saying. He just smirks, telling her he won't tease her anymore and that she should go get refreshed. He gently takes her hand, the touch sending sparks through her. She practically flees the room, her heart pounding a mile a minute. The emperor watches her go, a devilish and satisfied smile on his face. But the moment she's gone, his smile vanishes. The playful mood evaporates as a subordinate silently appears. The emperor's voice is cold as he asks if a letter has arrived from Mr. Bai. His man presents the letter with a bow. He tears it open, only to find a few small dark pills inside. He hasn't given up yet, he thinks, his expression hardening. His jaw is tight and a grim silence fills the room. He gives his order, "Tell Mr. Bai that everything in the palace remains the same and he must continue as usual." Then with a deep breath, he swallows the mysterious pills. Later that night, our girl lies awake, her mind racing. She just can't stop thinking about the Y residence and the danger they're in. She turns over, only to find the emperor's eyes open. "Can't sleep either," he asks softly. He suddenly looks flushed, mumbling that he knew it wouldn't work. She sits up, confused, asking what he's talking about as he clutches his head, complaining of a headache. Our poor heroine immediately gets concerned, offering to give him a massage. It's just normal to take care of others, she tells herself, trying to ignore her racing heart. She gently begins to massage his temples. He flinches, letting out a small ouch. "What's wrong?" she asks. "Should I be gentler?" Then she decides to go for the savage approach, telling him his migraines were just a convenient plot device in the book. At least they were, until his enemies decided to use it as an opportunity to try and assassinate him. "It's a relief, isn't it?" she adds with absolutely zero chill. She even suggests having Uncle Bai check him for a brain tumor or poisoning. Her eyes narrow as she puts the pieces together. You're actually afraid to die, aren't you? He can only manage a quiet, hard to say. She softens, giving him a much-needed pep talk. It's okay to be scared, but he's the CEO of this empire and they will fight another day. Overwhelmed by her words, he pulls her into a deep kiss. He looks her dead in the eyes, promising that as long as she doesn't give up, neither will he. Our girl is left blushing and breathless, wondering if she just imagined a hint of actual affection in his voice. He quickly breaks the spell, saying he still relies on her for his future prosperity. She sighs, deciding she must have read too much into it. And just like that, a wave of exhaustion hits her. She's out like a light. He watches her sleep, his gaze lingering. A soft, tender smile plays on his lips as he watches over her. Meanwhile, in another part of the palace, a young boy is jolted awake. What am I doing? He thinks, completely disoriented. A servant informs him that the empress is coming to inspect his studies. The crown prince is panicking. Empress, weren't I just in math class? He's starting to have a full-blown meltdown. He remembers it clearly. He was playing on his phone in class and accidentally clicked on a web novel called The Demon's Concubine. The second he clicked, the world went black and he woke up here. He got ice-eyed. This has to be a dream, he thinks, pinching his cheek to wake himself up. But it's all too real as the Empress Dowager sweeps in, demanding to know how his studies are progressing. The poor kid is frozen solid. He's a modern middle schooler. He has no idea how to speak to royalty. The Empress's gaze sharpens. Why aren't you answering? He just stammers, unable to form a coherent sentence. She launches into a lecture about his duty to the throne and the weight of the empire. He must be diligent and upright in his studies. The kid is having an internal crisis, realizing he's time-traveled and this powerful woman is now his grandmother. He finally manages to eke out a yes, thank you grandmother, and she thankfully leaves. He's dodged a bullet, but a bigger problem looms. He can't read or write the language of this world. He is so screwed. Elsewhere, the Empress Dowager receives a report. The Emperor, once again, spent the night at Consort Yu's quarters. Her lady-in-waiting notes that no other woman has ever held his favor for so long. The Empress is frustrated. The Emperor always dismisses his servants when he's with our girl, making it impossible to spy. She gives a chilling order. The contraceptive potion must be delivered to the consort without fail. Her maid bows, promising to take care of it. Another attendant seethes, saying Consort Yu shows no respect and needs to be taught a lesson. The Empress changes the subject, asking about a political appointment. Suddenly, an attendant announces the Emperor's arrival. He sweeps in, followed by none other than Uncle Bai. Our girl greets him, but the Emperor's attention is on his uncle. He asks if Uncle Bai was hurt during the incident last night. Uncle Bai reassures him, explaining that there were other hidden sentries besides the Imperial Guards, but he managed to avoid them. He notes that his esteemed older brother is getting more vigilant. Our girl gives a mental thumbs up. Thank goodness for Uncle Bai. Uncle Bai then gets to the point, asking what's so special about the book that has everyone so desperate to get their hands on it. Before our girl can answer, the Emperor presents the book himself. Come and see this, he says, his expression serious. He calls our girl out, noting that while she looks focused, she hasn't understood a single thing. She quickly defends herself, saying the handwriting is a chaotic mess, so of course she can't understand it. She's clearly flustered, holding the book like a shield. He points out a key phrase about gaining the trust of a deputy commander Xiahou. They'll need to check out this commander in the Imperial Guard later. And suddenly, our girl realizes something huge. In the original story, Prince Duan gets the Imperial Guards to defect and then overthrows the commander. It was a major part of his rebellion. She puts two and two together. Prince Duan is trying to take control of the Imperial Guard forces. The other woman is shocked, asking if he's planning a rebellion. He confirms it, saying that now they have his little black book, they can finally thwart his plans. She suggests a much simpler plan, just behead the guy. He patiently explains that Prince Duan's political roots run too deep for such a simple solution. Even if they did eliminate him, the Empress Dowager's faction would just prop up someone else. It's an endless slaughter that only treats the symptoms, not the root cause. The woman looks deeply troubled by this complex political web. Our girl flips to another page, pointing out a passage about using a man named Jia to eliminate spies from the state of Yan. She connects the dots. That assassin they found in the brothel was likely a dissident Prince Duan wanted to get rid of. The Emperor realizes they've accidentally disrupted Prince Duan's plans, but our girl is confused. Why would Yan send assassins? It's not a very permanent solution to their problems. The other woman clears her throat, ready to drop some knowledge. He explains that a power struggle is raging in Yan, and sending a few assassins is a cheap way for nobles to increase their prestige. Furthermore, Yan is an arid, barren land that has been ravaged by famine for years. The word drought hits our girl like a bolt of lightning. He immediately picks up on her sudden change in mood. She turns to Uncle Bai and asks what kind of crops are grown in such a dry region. A brilliant, mischievous smile spreads across her face. She's got a plan. The woman explains they grow something called Yan millet, a coarse grain they only use to feed pigs. The next day arrives and with it a new scheme. At the palace, our girl is ready to make her move. She reports that one of the Dowager Empress's cronies has been accused of corruption under the guise of gambling. His response is swift and absolutely savage: exile him. She's a little taken aback by his ruthlessness. He smirks, asking if she thinks he's cruel. She quickly explains the political genius behind it. Exiling him appeases the Empress Dowager while showing he won't spare anyone, even his own family. He knows she's not just there to report on court drama, though. She grins, admitting he understands her well. She reveals she studied the book all night and discovered Prince Duan's next move, recruiting failed candidates from the upcoming imperial exams. She points out the exact section. He listens intently as she lays out the villain's playbook. She explains that since the system is rife with favoritism, talented students from poor families never succeed. Prince Duan swoops in, offers them positions, and they become his loyal instruments. He recalls that many of those recruits actually became incredibly competent ministers. He stops writing, his full attention on her. "So what?" he asks, his expression unreadable. Our girl's eyes sparkle with cunning. "Well," she declares, "we must recruit them before Prince Duan does." He leans back, a challenging smirk on his face, and asks if her superbrain can remember all the candidates' names. "I don't remember," she admits with a cheeky grin, "but you must know about the woman who's always by Prince Duan's side, right?" He becomes thoughtful. "It's a good point, but why would Zai Younger betray her master and reveal such crucial information?" He admits he's been planning something for a long time. Our girl waits for him to elaborate. She cuts right to the chase. "So, can you summon Zai Younger to see you tonight?" His hand freezes mid-stroke. The air grows tense as a single drop of black ink falls from his brush, his face a mask of cold fury. He's clearly not happy about this suggestion, not one bit. He suddenly grabs her, pulling her close. She's completely stunned, stammering, What is?" His eyes burn with jealousy as he growls, "Do you want me to find another woman to sleep with?" He is dead serious, and our girl holds her breath, completely frozen. She quickly tries to salvage the situation with a nervous smile. She has a chaotic flashback. Realizing this plan makes her look like a pimp forcing him to sleep with someone else. She quickly explains she got a truth serum from Uncle Bay to get more information out of the woman. He reluctantly gives in, "Okay." She beams, thinking the hard part is over. It's settled then. But as she turns to leave, he yanks her back by the wrist, his grip like iron. He orders her to stay hidden nearby and watch everything. Our girl is baffled by his strange possessiveness. "Do you hear me?" he insists. Her heart pounds in her chest as she struggles for words. Her inner monologue is going wild. She thinks he's acting like a domineering, unscrupulous CEO just using her for his own ends. He tries to reassure her that they are in this together. She puts on a brave face and promises to handle it. Looking utterly disappointed, he dismisses her, saying he has more work to do. He coldly returns to his paperwork. She quietly leaves his study, feeling the weight of his gaze. He watches her go, his expression unreadable. Meanwhile, in another part of the palace, Zai Younger gets some interesting news. Her maid reports that Consort Yu's father has been demoted, meaning she's fallen out of the emperor's favor. The maid sees this as a golden opportunity, but Zai Younger just thinks the emperor is heartless. She stares off into the distance, lost in thought. She thinks about Prince Duan's kindness, but also the strange distance between them. Just then, Consort Yu herself arrives. What is she doing here? Zai Younger wonders. Consort Yu immediately starts complaining about her misfortune, but then casually mentions that she heard the emperor summoned Zai Younger for the night. The passive aggression is thick enough to cut with a knife. Consort Yu is clearly bitter about being replaced. She leans in, putting on a fake sincere look. "You must feel rather bitter now," she says, dripping with false sympathy. Consort Yu whispers a scandalous secret about the palace. She asks if Zai Younger knows why the emperor has so few children. It's because the Empress Dowager forces every concubine to drink a contraceptive potion before spending the night with him. She advises her to only pretend to drink it, otherwise she'll never conceive a royal heir. Zai Younger plays along, thanking her for the warning. But internally she's thinking, "Oh, don't worry, I'll definitely take this medication," the absolute savagery. A cunning, knowing smile plays on her lips. This is all going according to plan. Later that night, Consort Yu is putting on a show, begging the emperor for forgiveness. She pleads with him not to banish her, clinging to him desperately. A girl hidden nearby whispers to the emperor, "I brought the remedy, it's up to you now." He plays his part, allowing Consort Yu to stay by his side. He pulls the disgraced consort into an embrace. The nearby servants blush, completely fooled by his generosity. But another player is watching from the shadows. A different concubine is furious that Consort Yu is shamelessly interfering on concubine Zai's night. She decides that desperate times call for desperate measures and gives her maid a potion to slip into Consort Yu's tea. The maid accepts the contraceptive potion, ready to carry out her lady's orders. The snake Consort Yu hands her maid a contraceptive potion, ordering her to slip it into our girl's tea. The emperor is in on it, telling Consort Yu she absolutely must make our girl drink it. Consort Yu gives him some sage advice. Just play the domineering president and force it down her throat. But the maid is no fool, and she's already figured out this is a scheme to frame our poor heroine, Consort Zai. The plan is set. Consort Yu will hide and watch the show while the emperor does the dirty work. With the drugged tea already swapped into place, she settles in for the drama. The wicked consort pours the tea herself, determined to see this through. Just then, our girl arrives, greeting his majesty with a bow. The emperor's eyes narrow, and with a single command, he orders her to drink. And our girl, bless her heart, just chugs the whole thing down without a second thought. Internally, she's celebrating. Tyrant, I don't want your babies anyway. She scoffs, thinking she'll just pretend she got bitten by a dog. But before the drug can even kick in, the emperor makes his moves. Our girl is completely bewildered by his sudden advance. He suddenly gets nostalgic, asking her to sing a song to liven things up. She's thinking this guy has more plot twists than a paperback novel. So she begins to sing a classic poetic tune. The emperor smirks, thinking this performance will be a huge slap in the face to the watching Consort Yu. And speaking of the devil, Consort Yu sips her own tea, smugly enjoying the show. But wait, her eyes widen in horror as she realizes the tea has a weird taste. Could it be the drugged cup? The emperor watches our girls, wondering why she isn't acting weird yet. He tells our heroine to wait right there. Consort Yu rushes over, whispering that there's been a huge mistake. She drank the drugged tea. The emperor is not impressed. You think she's stupid enough to drink another cup right after the first? Apparently yes, because he immediately hands the cup to our girl and says, drink. Without a single ounce of hesitation, she downs it again. Consort Yu is having a meltdown. Why didn't she put up a fight? Our girl looks flushed as the emperor asks her a strange question, how many? He suddenly slaps her hand away, calling her an idiot. That's it, she's had enough and tells him to get out. He just smirks, knowing she's completely lost her mind from the drug. But then a mysterious woman in a fox mask appears, calling our girl by her real name from her past life. Still dazed, our girl asks who she is. The masked woman is shocked, but our girl quickly puts two and two together. This must be the author of the novel she's trapped in. The author dramatically confirms her identity. She can't believe her own character transmigrated and stirred up so much trouble. Our girl immediately starts asking about her family back in the real world. But the author loses it when she hears her brother got first place in the exams, screaming that he was supposed to be cannon fodder. She grabs our girl, furious that she messed with the original storyline. What did I do? Our girl cries out, totally confused. The author reveals she shouldn't have helped Prince Duan because he was supposed to undergo trials and tribulations. But our girl isn't having it, shouting back that she remembers the original text perfectly. The author reveals the original, horrifying ending for the characters our girl saved, beaten to death and stuffed in a bag. It only gets worse from there, with another character committing suicide in despair. And little do they know, the emperor is hiding in the shadows, furiously taking notes on all this juicy plot info. The author complains that they are all just cannon fodder to be crushed at will. Then she starts demanding information about the plot. They discuss how everything now hinges on the emperor's acting skills. They need to find a way to gain the trust of some key players. But suddenly the author's voice vanishes and our girl starts to panic. Just as she's about to have a full-blown meltdown, the emperor steps out to comfort her. She bursts into tears, sobbing that Prince Duan doesn't trust her and she's just a tool. Then she starts spilling all of his secrets, from drugging a commander to poisoning his horse. The emperor gets extremely flustered and pushes her away. He shoves her back, covering her eyes and telling her to stay away. He then scoops her up and glares at a shocked Consort Yu, demanding to know what's wrong with her. The wicked consort is speechless. He tells her to get off the cold floor, but she just brushes him off, claiming the medication is making her tired, and leaves. Her mind is racing. In the original story, the prince followed her plans. Why did he change them now? She realizes the horrifying truth. Prince Duan must have deviated from the plan because he doesn't trust her anymore. She spirals, realizing her arrogance made her overlook crucial details, and now she's falling into an abyss of her own making. Why does he always guess my predictions? She cries out to the night sky. The soul-crushing realization hits her. While she thought she had a god's perspective on the story, he was on an even higher level, playing 5D chess. He was never the character, he was the puppet master. And in his eyes, she was nothing more than a simple paper doll. Back in the room, Consort Yu is found by the emperor. She looks at him defeated and says it's over. He turns to leave, asking why she would say that. But then he comes back, pulling her into his arms. Let's stop struggling, he says. He asks if she's finally giving up. She feels utterly hopeless, admitting that pledging allegiance to him is her only option, but he already knows all her schemes. He then offers her a chaotic alternative, make him fall in love with her. She scoffs, laughing at the idea of regaining her position when he already has our girl, Zai Younger. But his reply is savage. Zai Younger is not your match. He leans in, closing the distance between them. And for a moment, the villainess is actually flattered. So he whispers, you want to give it a try? He gently lifts her chin and the game is on. Our poor girl looks absolutely shattered as she asks him why. But this man, this absolute menace, just gives her a cold side eye, refusing to answer. She immediately starts spiraling, thinking Prince Duan is a terrifying monster who sees her as nothing more than a lovesick fool. A fool who would die for him, get a quick burial, a few crocodile tears, and then he'd be off to find his real girl Zai Younger. He suddenly grabs her chin, his eyes glinting as he asks, "Isn't this how all men achieve great things?" The absolute audacity. He smirks, telling her she's quite knowledgeable. And our girl, a true master of the isekai arts, just goes with it, claiming she learned it all from TV shows and movies back home. She looks so proud of herself. He then changes the subject, asking about his disguised self, Xiahou Dan. She immediately launches into a glowing review, calling President Dan her most precious companion, a friendship as strong as life and death. He starts to choke on his own jealousy. He asks if she can accept close contact with this Xiahou Dan, and she puts on a stellar performance. "Oh, it's all right, I'm not against it at all," she says with a blush. And this man's ego goes into overdrive. He's completely deluded, thinking she secretly adores him. He leans in closer, asking if she trusts this Xiahou Dan. She looks away, heart pounding, and says she trusts him completely. With his ego sufficiently stroked, he seems satisfied for now. Meanwhile, at the Yu residence, things are grim. Our girl's father is lamenting his family's fall from grace when he gets a surprise visitor. It's Prince Duan, and Lord Yu can't figure out why he's here now that his daughter has lost favor. The poor man is literally wiping away tears. But Prince Duan is as smooth as ever, promising to check in on his daughter for him, leaving the old man full of gratitude. As the prince leaves, his subordinate approaches with some intel. They found 2 pieces of calligraphy, and the handwriting is a perfect match. Prince Duan's eyes narrow. It's time to meet with her. Back in the palace, our girl is having a full-blown panic attack. She can't believe she spilled so many secrets to the emperor himself. Her entire cover could be blown. Just then, her maid interrupts, telling her it's time to see the Empress Dowager and dropping some hot gossip about a maid being tortured over contraceptive tea. And the concubine who drank it, she's now the new favorite, consort Zai. The maid's dish on how Zai Younger played the victim card perfectly. And the emperor ate it right up. Our heroine sighs. It looks like Xiahou Dan has made his move, now it's her turn to act. At the Empress Dowager's court, the emperor is already doting on his new favorite, telling her to sit beside him. She obeys with a sweet smile, internally gloating over her victory. The other concubines look like they could spit nails, but the Empress Dowager is the one to watch. She's already planning to brew some more of that special soup. She brings up the upcoming flower festival, suggesting consort Zai perform for everyone. Zai Younger sweetly agrees, promising not to disappoint. This sends our girl into another panic. If she performs that song, will Dan be able to control himself? The emperor just smirks, clearly enjoying the drama, whispering something that makes the new consort blush. The Empress Dowager's side eye is lethal. Thinking fast, our girl fakes a cough. She quickly makes her excuses, claiming she has a cold and must leave. And with that, she makes a tactical retreat, dragging her maid with her. But as they leave, a guard slyly presses a note into her hand. She's internally screaming, "Can't these people find a less reckless way to pass secret messages?" Later, she's waiting in a dark, eerie garden, cursing Prince Duan for his terrible choice of meeting spots. He appears out of the shadows, calling her name. Okay, showtime. She decides to test him and see what he really knows. She feigns confusion at him, using her name so familiarly. The prince, a true drama king himself, claims he just saw her worried father, before casually mentioning the emperor's new favorite, consort Zai. Our girl isn't fooled for a second. She knows this man is a scoundrel and an actor. She probes back, asking what he thinks of the new consort. He gives a polite, non-committal answer. "Then what about me?" she asks, and he leans in so close she can feel his breath. He says it's time to speak frankly. For example, she challenges, and then he drops the bomb, "Who are you?" Our girl's blood runs cold. He pushes further, asking about Younger, and her worst fears bubble to the surface. Did she make a mistake? Did he see through her? But no, she reasons, it's impossible to see through the emperor's disguise. This means Prince Duan is on a whole other level. He tells her not to be afraid, that siding with him is the smart move. He claims he's not after her knowledge, but is simply captivated by her. Our girl scoffs. Captivated? We're not even the same species. He just smiles, saying that doesn't matter, and asks why else he would have sought her out. Overwhelmed, she asks for some time to process everything. As she walks away, she doesn't see the pair of eyes watching her from the shadows. It's the emperor. Later, his subordinate, who is also our girl's brother, reports on her secret meeting with Prince Duan. Her brother is furious, suggesting they deal with her before she defects and becomes a threat. But the emperor is surprisingly calm. Have you considered that from her perspective, siding with Prince Duan is indeed safer? He says that wanting to survive is only human nature. His subordinate is confused, asking why he's not angry. The emperor reveals the truth potion he gave her worked perfectly. It showed him that while she trusts him, she's terrified of Prince Duan. She wants to live, he repeats softly. But her brother isn't convinced, warning the emperor not to let his feelings get in the way. He asks the million-dollar question, "That woman?" Is she really that important to you?